Hello everyone, so this is to do with the downloading and getting your image for your Raspberry Pi. So there's loads of instructional videos about this, so I won't make this a long one. So really all you need to do is go to raspberrypi.org/download/Raspian, scroll down to here, and the image that you want is the light image. Nice and easy, and it's small, very small compared to the likes of Windows. I think that's quite massive nowadays. So you click on download your zip file, which you'll download, and then use your favourite zip extractor to then bring out the image itself. Now, I won't go into full details of the others because there is a full installation guide, and this supports the likes of Linux, your Mac operating system, Windows and Chrome operating system. So it's all there for you to play around with. I won't go through on how to do each individual one. There's no benefit of it because you can all read through the instructions at leisure, and also this is a formal website for the Raspberry Pi. So, and they know a hell of a lot better than I do anyway. So without any more to do, what we'll do is, so I've already downloaded this. I'll use my disk, wherever it's gone to. So I'll go to disks, bring this across, and for this example I'm just using the thumb drive that I've got plugged in. It'll be exactly the same as it would be for an SD card. So all we'll do is go to your little wavy lines, your lines up here, and what we're going to do is we're going to click on Restore Disk Image. And the reason why it's Restore and not Create is because you're bringing an image from your hard drive onto your SD card. If you was to actually want to do it the other way around, if you had an SD card that you built up and you wanted to create an image so you can actually come back to it at a later date, if you make a mess of the current one, obviously that would be the Create. But for this example, we'll click on Restore. So you'll get a prompt like this. And then we've got all sorts of random stuff in here. So where are we gone? Oh, there we go. So that's the image that I downloaded. Obviously you can tell it was just, when was it? Just yesterday, by all accounts. Didn't realise that. Obviously busy doing two other things. So, sorry, just get that there. So you select it, click on open. And it'll give you a prompt. The disk image is 14 gigabytes smaller than the target device. Yes, we know, not to worry. So what I'm going to do is going to click on Start Recording. Now, word of warning of this, doubly, triply, in fact I'm not too fussed on how many times you check it. Just make sure you are selecting that drive. You don't want to be doing your main hard drives. You do that and you're just going to be in tears because it kills everything off. So what I'll do is I'll click on Start Restoring and then click on Restore. For this, obviously, it promised me from a password. And off we go. So it'll give you a countdown. So 6 minutes, go and make a drink. And there we go. That's it, done and dusted. So, as before, we'll eject the disk. And that's it. And then what you can do is, would normally be your SD card reader or the actual SD card itself, depending on how you've got a PC or laptop. And done. So, plug it in and on to the next bit. Right everyone, so hopefully the element of getting your image downloaded and then put onto your SD card has been successful. when you plumb your Raspberry Pi power in with the SD card and the HDMI cable in, and then your keyboard, you will be prompted for a username and password, and the default username is Pi and the password is Raspberry for all default images. You are encouraged to change it there afterwards, but for this example I'm just going to leave it as standard anyway. So you'll end up with a screen like this, so nothing magical to do. It looks very dull compared to all the other witty stuff that we see nowadays. However, this is where we can then start doing some stuff. So the first command that I would run would be your sudo raspi-config. So this gets us into a configuration setting. So think of it as your main settings for Windows if you're Windows orientated. So we can then start getting some of the basics up and running. So we just press return. And you end up with a screen like this. Now, because as you noticed, I had an Edimax USB dongle, Wi-Fi dongle, sorry, that will allow me to utilize the Raspberry Pi over Wi-Fi, which again, you don't want cables lurking around, but if you can do this, then you're already on a very good path. So the first thing I would do is configure network settings. So select number 2 on the way down, and you can do all sorts of fun stuff in here. Set the visible name for the Pi on the network. I'm not going to faddle around with that at the moment, but the main one I want to use is your Wi-Fi. Enter SSID and passphrase. For those amongst us that are not as tech savvy with all that, basically what that's meaning is I just need to know the name of the router that I'm going to use for this and the password. So what I want to do is I want to use the Netgear router. Obviously your router will be named differently, but I've just called mine Netgear for simplicity. Press enter, and then you want to put your password in. So whatever your password is, pop it in there. And it's simple as that, and press enter. So now what you should then have, once it's then complete, is it'll come around in a second after it's done its bits and bobs, and that's it. The next part that you want to do is the interfacing options. So this is where we're going to allow, and it's what I've done here anyway, is to what they call SSH into it. Basically it's an ability to remotely connect into the device without having to have a keyboard and screen all plugged in. So click on there, and then what you want to do is this part here, P2 SSH, enable, disable remote command line access using your Pi, to your Pi using and obviously it must have text run off there or something, but enter on that and it'll come up with a prompt in a second. Would you like to SSH server to be enabled? The answer is yes, we do. So press enter, wait. Again, the Raspberry Pi, the first version, Model A, is, once you got used to some of the other faster ones, it does seem a bit slow and clunky, but there we go. So SSH server enabled, click on OK, and then what I want to do is click on finish. So if all is well, the next command, if you do ifconfig, this will display essentially the connections of your Raspberry Pi and what it's connected to. And what we're looking for here, we've got WLAN, so that's your Wi-Fi local area network, and then you've got there. So that is your IP address, and if you've got this, congratulations, you can now connect to your Raspberry Pi via SSH. So what I'll do is I'll just show you how we can do that. So, oops, wrong button. So let's bring up a new, bring that into play. So this is where you can actually decouple your HDMI cable, reboot your Pi, which you can do on that other screen if you wish. But to get it to your Raspberry Pi now is SSH, and it's Pi at, and then I forgot the numbers. There you go. So this part here is the IP address, essentially the identifier for your Raspberry Pi. Press enter. You'll be prompted to your password, and now because we've already said the username is Pi, you just whack in your password. And help if you could spell it. And there you go. So that's it. That's you getting into the Raspberry Pi remotely. So now I can decouple my HDMI cable. The Wi-Fi is all set up. So we've got the Raspberry Pi now all up and running, decoupled from everything, powered on, Wi-Fi light is on, and you can see I've already SSH'd into the Raspberry Pi. Now the next bit I have kind of cheated, but the guy who's done the video, and I'll put the link to not only his YouTube channel and the video, but also a link to the actual code to run, because literally just cut, copy and paste. So what you'll have to do first here is, once you've clicked on and getting the code, do sudo nano, and I called mine automate.py. To run a Python script you've got to end it .py, or else it just won't run. But the code that you copy out is essentially this. And without going into too much detail, we're setting up the Python script to run through each of the relays in sequence and essentially turn them off. Turn them on and turn them on. I'll try that again. Turn them on and turn them off. The turn off actually is all in one hit. So what we do is we set up everything here. So you've got pin list. So these are all the GPIO pins. If you use anything different than what's in the video, by all means you'll need to change this, but I think it's with the way it's set up, it's quite a good way to go through. And then what we've done here is we've set up the GPIO out and high. Down here what we've then got is the sleep timer, and I'll show you on how we use this in a minute. It's actually quite good. And what we're going to do is for each of the GPIO pins, so number 2 is the first one, number 3 second one, etc, etc, all the way through to 8. What it's going to do is once it's done one and tested it, it'll print 1, 2, 3 and 4, and the sleep time L up here is for how many seconds it will take before it goes on to the next one. And so then afterwards, after it's done all of them, what it'll do is it'll sleep for another second and then kind of switch off. And then once it's then done, we can either, before it's done, we can either interrupt it by stopping it with the keyboard, or what it'll do is once it ends, it'll reset all the GPIO's pins, and then the relays will go off. So let's sort that out for now. So what we'll do is, because I've not amended anything, so the command to run would be Python automate, and what we'll see is the relays all clicking in one at a time. And there you go. So all 8 relays clicked on, all of them clicked off, which is great. Now, just because we can, what I would suggest is, just so you can get yourself familiar about doing some things, is go back into the code again and just change the sleep timer. So that was 1 second. So let's take it to 2 seconds, for example. Seems a bit boring. And let's run the code again. So Python automate.py. So you can see it's a hell of a lot slower. But being slow is not always the best thing. So let's turn it up a bit. So we'll go to 1/4 of a second. Oops. Control X. Yes. And save. Let's run it again. Ooh, now that's quick. Let's go quicker. Let's try 1/10 of a second. Quicker than that? How quick can we go? Is that going to be quick enough? One last time. I haven't actually gone any quicker than that. But let's just see if we can go down to this level. This is where I'll probably break something anyway. There you go. So as you can see, the relays respond quite well and quite quick. So that's that part. But what I want to do now is, let's go back into this and let's put this on for a little bit longer. Let's put it on to 5 seconds. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I did say that between 5 to 6 seconds would be the time that I want to have the elements going up and down. So I think in my wiring diagram I have got, oops, got something wrong. So there we can see I've got a resistance there, but then if I move across to 1, I shouldn't have anything. There we go, that's right. So what we'll do is we'll kick off the code again, and what I'm expecting is that this will then change, and essentially what this is then doing is this is going to make my circuit complete, which when I code for this properly, this will make it go down. So as you can see, it's gone up. This makes no impact to the other relays, so I'll be having potentially my first relay kick in first, second one a very small delay afterwards. You can see that there's no change. I think the resistance is me just moving around slightly. There we go, off. So as you can see, that's a nice little way of being able to switch on and off a circuit. Now, as mentioned before, I want to include some switches, not switches, micro switches, and I've actually managed to dissect some through from my 3D printer, so I'll be including those. Well, that should get you started. I'm going to now do some proper code that will allow me to switch things on and off in a timely fashion how I want to do it, but by that time you'll probably got up to speed of where you want to be and get your parts in. Okay, thanks a lot, bye.